So I was initially not going to post this failed sketchbook painting, to be honest. I mean, the video clips have been sitting on my phone for nearly 2 months now. I think in a few days it will be exactly 2 months. But my friend convinced me to at least consider posting after I showed her the piece and we talked through it a little bit. I told her that I would give the voiceover a shot, so here we are. I wanted to talk briefly about this quote unquote fail, what went wrong with it, and share a bit of my friend's wisdom. So, I created this piece when I was truly not at the right mental headspace. It was at a time when I was super stressed and I had too much on my plate. My mind was running 100 miles an hour. I was like thinking of everything that needed to be done, but I still wanted to post on YouTube because I really enjoy just recording videos, recording voiceovers, and posting them. Obviously, seeing the way that this turned out, I didn't post it. Well, I mean, until now. And yeah, because I was stressed and thinking about all these things that I had to do, I rushed through the painting. I didn't take a moment to enjoy myself or to enjoy the process, and it was just rushed. Because I was rushing, this meant that I didn't wait for the layers to dry in between, especially when it was time to add the trees in the background and the rocks on the floor, which do have clear shapes. So when the layer underneath, when the surface is still damp, the watercolor spreads out, which makes it difficult to achieve like the sharp edges and the clear shapes that we would want for certain things in a landscape. And because the page was wet, again, I was just unable to get such details, and the orange and the black were mixing. So the colors were getting muddy in addition to the lack of details. And like looking back at the clips, I know I probably shouldn't put the colors on the page in that order and whatnot, but overall, it was just not a pleasant experience, especially since I usually feel very comfortable using watercolors. I mean, like, it's my main medium. I tell people to use it. I tell my friends that it's a beautiful medium. It's super fun, super calming, super therapeutic. But just this time, it felt it felt like I forgot how to work with watercolors and that the medium was just working against me. I forgot all the techniques. I forgot the patience and the care that I would have when making art, which of course was super frustrating. I mean, I remember thinking, why can't I do this? Why is this turning out this way? What am I doing wrong as I painted? Since the watercolors just felt so oddly foreign in my hands, even though I knew how to use them. Like looking back, I know that I should have added the orange layer before the black and that I should have painted the background first. I should have waited in between layers, especially when it came to adding the details. Like I knew all these things, but like I said, it was as if I forgot everything I knew simply because I just wasn't in the right headspace. I also want to say, beyond the appearance of this painting, um, my friend and we figured out that what I had issues with was actually the process. Because I'm generally okay with horrible sketchbook pages. That's what sketchbooks are for. I believe that you should be able to do whatever you want in your sketchbooks. And yeah, I just love to experiment and try new things no matter how they turn out. This doesn't mean, I will post them, but I also don't usually think of them as quote unquote failures. I treat them more like learning opportunities and just as a way to have fun and to just enjoy making art. But because I was thinking about everything else that I had to do, and I felt like I was under quite a bit of pressure, I forgot to take my time and enjoy the process. And it's upsetting because the process is one of the reasons why I love art in the first place. And just the fact that I couldn't get the same level of fulfillment in making this piece as I usually would, I think just made me see the piece as a complete failure and maybe even as a waste of time. So the issue was beyond the way that this piece looked, but more so how I went about it. Something my friend also mentioned was the parallels between the piece and life, which I thought was super interesting because I don't think I would have ever drawn those parallels or been able to at least appreciate um, how this piece, my learnings from this piece could potentially be applied to life. So when I was rushing through the piece, it became so much easier for me to miss out on the little things that would have made this piece better. It became easier to miss details and techniques and just the stuff that I am very familiar with that could have beautified the piece and could have made the piece better and take it to the next level. Similar to this experience, when we are rushing through life and we're not taking the moment to enjoy the present or the little things, then sometimes we miss out on the little details that beautify life and the little things that make life enjoyable and fulfilling. The more we rush through life, sometimes the muddier the colors become, making life a little less bright and a bit more dull. Another similarity my friend pointed out was regarding how my stress about the things that needed to be done um, after, I finished the painting, aka my stress about the near future, made me unable to do things I would normally be able to do successfully. And in life too, when we are too stressed and we aren't really thinking clearly, we may forget or overlook things that we normally wouldn't. We may become strangers to the things that are normally so familiar to us. We may quote unquote mess up more, or we may make silly mistakes, which may not have happened if we were, doing the thing with a clear mindset. So, just as I will try to enjoy the process of making art, I'll also try to take it slow and enjoy the little things that make life enjoyable. And I think it was these similarities between the process of creating this piece and life which made my friend like this painting even more. Um, I think she definitely sees this sketchbook painting as special, which I'm very happy about. It does also change my perspective on how this painting went and how it turned out. Something that was also interesting was that normally I use specific subjects in my paintings to convey a message in my art pieces. Like I'll use masks, I'll use hands, stitches, I'll use things like animals, so birds, snakes, fish. Um, but this time, rather than the subject, my friend was able to find a message through the process of making the art piece and just the general look of the painting. So I definitely learned a lot when I was working on this sketchbook piece. Probably not skills or, technique wise as I normally would, but I learned a lot in terms of my art process, my mental state, and life. Even though the piece did not turn out the way I hoped it would, I'm happy that I made it and I'm proud that I'm posting it. Even though I'm not super proud of the painting and it does feel a little uncomfortable to post something that I'm not super proud of. But I'm happy with what I got out of working on this sketchbook piece. I'm happy with this experience, and that's what sketchbooks are for. It's for the good, the bad, and everything else in between. Whether you share it or not, it's up to you. In short, the sketchbook painting failed, more so because of the process rather than the appearance, and that's absolutely okay. Not everything is a masterpiece, especially if it's in your sketchbook, and it's okay to share those average, I don't know how I feel about this type of pieces. Yeah, I think that concludes everything I wanted to discuss regarding this topic. Thank you so much for watching this video about my failed sketchbook painting, and I hope to see you next week with a video of me painting the last page of my sketchbook, which will be followed up by a sketchbook tour. So I hope you stay tuned for that, and I hope you take care.